World of YouTube, Tefsite here. I want to go over something that I never heard of in the entire time that I've known of this story. Which, mind you, I watched this Lizzy Borden. Of course, everybody, if you know the school ground little song they made back in the day, my father used to tell it to me too when I was younger. You know, Lizzy Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. I don't know why they didn't say stepmother, because it wasn't a real mother. When she'd seen what she had done, she gave her father 41. Now, as far as I've known, as you can see, there's a John Morse in a little detailed rounding up of who was there on the day of the murder. And from as long as I know, and even the 1979 or 76, there's a TV show, a TV series show. Well, it ain't a series, but it was, you know, a little TV movie that was made about Lizzy Borden. And I remember watching this back in Air Mass. I believe it was like 1981 or 1980. Stumbled upon it one day coming home from school, turned on the TV, and there it was. and there's nothing in this TV movie to indicate that this John Morse even existed. All it had to do was with Lizzy Borden and how, you know, and it did a damn good reenactment. Now, I forget the name of the damn movie, but if you look up 1976 or 70, I believe it was 76, movie of Lizzy Borden, they did a superb job on that. And the reenactment in the movie was, and supposedly in this article, and this is from the BuzzFeed, and I don't know where he got his information from, but like I said, the movie did a, you know, superb job of the reenactment of this movie, or of this crime, I should say. And they said that she could have had changed her dress. But if you watch the movie, there was no change of dress, let alone knowing if there was any blood on it, because she said she had paint. But the fact of the matter is in the movie, they show that Lizzy Borden performed this act naked, stark, bare ass naked, and that would, you know, and in the movie they show her washing off, but I don't understand this whole reenactment of what they did on this BuzzFeed Unsolved. Because they said the maid was taking a nap. But the maid and the stepmother were upstairs making beds in the movie. So like I said, I don't know where they got this information. If it's new information, well, I ain't never heard of it, and I never caught up with it. And I don't know when this would have came out. But then the movie, that's what was said. the maid was up on the third floor making beds or doing something. And the stepmother, I believe, was in the guest bedroom making a bed too, or whatever she was doing. And of course, there was Lizzy Borden as her father laid on the couch. In the movie, it shows her taking out the father, then walking upstairs quietly, taking out the mother. And of course, you don't hear nothing of screams or cries or... And the maid in this reenactment of the BuzzFeed supposedly was trying to go to sleep, but she didn't go directly to sleep, and then she heard moaning or something, which that never happened in the movie. In the movie, Lizzy Borden just, very, just like a friggin' ninja, snuck up on her parents, step-parent, father, and literally just started pounding away with the axe. The original skulls are on display at a museum. I went and seen them. I took a tour of it in Salem, Mass. And like I said, I don't know where they got this information. And then the John Morse he was an uncle of Lizzy Borden. And he was the brother of Lizzy Borden's biological mother. It's like, what the never heard this. Now in the movie, I do believe that it, even in the tale of this story, it says that her mother had passed away and her father remarried. And it is said that, right, one thing that is true, there was a large inheritance to Lizzy and her sister. But they claim that this guy came along and knew about this will of large inheritance. But in the movie now, it wasn't about money. I mean, it could have been Lizzy was getting pissed off that her father kept cutting her off from getting things, of course. And what it was, it was about money, but the murder was fueled by the stepmother coming in and taking, her place. And that's what it was. She knew she probably would have inherited all that money, but she really was getting, peed off at her father and her new wife. Even though she was with him for some time, but it was a thing of the new wife had to go, and that's basically what motivated Lizzy. Jealousy. Her father, was starting to get angry with her, yelling at her, and I'm sure, right, she expected attention. And back in them days, you didn't have, therapy and help to get you through, especially when your biological mother passed away. There is no help, You got all this commotion going on and pardon the trucks. And you ain't got help with therapy. You lose your mind back in them days and you end up in the friggin' asylum. But this was just mind-baffling, let alone where this new stuff came up that John Morse was, and I never heard of this, was there visiting. But he was down the street with the same doctor that did the autopsies or checking on Lizzy Borden's parents. But he was visiting someone down the street, supposedly sick, and he was gone all that time. And if it was true, then you would expect that would be, his alibi at the time. So, of course, they wouldn't mention him in the movie. But if that was the case, then that's the only thing I could think of is, right, he had an alibi, so why would they think he did it? And if he was with the doctor that did the same, or, checking on the Bordens after they got smashed and bashed out, so But he wasn't seen, as supposedly it says in this reenactment from the BuzzFeed. And I don't know. I just never heard of that. And he knew of the will. Lizzy Borden was asked of a will, and she said she didn't know of it. But who knows? Back in them days, you ain't gonna know nothing, and someone ain't gonna tell nothing. And, you see it all the time. Hey, look at Amber Turd. Lucky thing she got not away with, harassing Johnny Depp and ruining his career. And that's exactly what that was. But Lizzy Borden, on the other hand, she had an alibi, and even though she burned some evidence and supposedly went to the pharmacist the day before the murders asking for a bottle of poison, there still wasn't enough evidence to convict her. And in the movie, she claims someone must have came in and killed him. See, that's another thing, though. When the movie, if you watch it, you'll see that she screams out someone came through the front door because it was open. Someone had to attack them and murder them because supposedly Mr. Andrew was not liked throughout the town either of Fall River. He was a bastard of a man, they say. So she was trying to go on, saying he had enemies. But hey, the worst enemy of anybody in this situation could be the one sitting and living with you right next to you. I mean, I do believe that Lizzy Borden did do this horrific act. But see how that lack of evidence screws everything up. And she did perform it well if she did do it. To the point, of course, that she made everything disappear. But anyways, like I say, this John Morse I never heard of, and that's the only reason why I'm bringing this case up. Because from what I've learned from the movie, and that movie was spot on with everything. You couldn't get a better movie. I mean, the one with Christina Ricci was pretty good, but it will not take on the original one. And that was just a TV movie, but it was done very well, I think. And I would recommend anybody to watch that movie. But like I said, it doesn't say nothing about no John Morse. She pretty much blamed a drifter say so. So it's who do you believe? But if it is true that John Morse was there, and if John Morse, the uncle, and obviously he didn't like his brother-in-law's new bride, new attitude, or even if he wasn't, even if he was the town asshole, it only stands clear, this guy, right? He was there, hey, that's something new, and it could have happened that way. I wouldn't deny it, but for the fact that they're matter of, is that right? He didn't, obviously, had a strong alibi. That would be the only reason why you wouldn't see that in the movie, or let alone in the originalness of the story. Anyways, other than that, I think this story was, come on. Damn dogs, let us not talking to each other. Nope. But, in all, this story is bizarre of its own. Will there ever be a way to prove it? Obviously not. Of course, the axe was in the basement. Supposedly the one that did the crime. So I mean, that let alone and being washed off would have indications of Lizzy Borden doing it and not John Morse. Who knows, maybe it's something that they brought in later on in the case just to say, hey, this guy was around too. But like, hey, he said he was down the street visiting a neighbor or some relative that was sick. So there's the alibi. But this will remain one of the strangest, bizarrest cases. And to think who done it will always be the question, because back then in the 1800s, you ain't got all this modern day stuff to prove anything. Even though everything they did have in evidence pointed to her. And I like the theory of, yeah, she did that shit naked. Because, right, what better way to do something? Not have an inch of blood on your clothing. And, you know, but to burn that dress. it was, that was bizarre too. But, think about it. That could have been the dress that she did clean up with some of the blood. So, only your imagination can run wild with this case. And that John Morse, something new to think about. But, hey, you ain't going to be able to dig him up and look for DNA. Unless if they could. Who knows? I know that aluminol could be used on the original axe. And why wasn't that performed to see? But who knows? Who knows? All we can do is just let our imagination run wild on this one. Because this would definitely be something that will be cold for many, many years. And I am deciding to see if I can get myself into the Lizzy Borden bed and breakfast. Because I would like to do my own ghost investigation there on the couch. Or let alone to the stepmother. Because who knows? She could have a key piece of evidence unless she turned around just enough in time to see Lizzy and then whack, 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 started hitting her up and didn't have no time to scream. Hey, you never know. The dead does talk. But until the next video, be safe, take care, and always think. Now you got the option to say who did it. Him or her. Till the next video, folks. Out.